nearsighted. So 20th century philosophy. So this is not too old, pero sinama ito ni Millard Erickson sa daw ang some philosophies in 20th century. So paano ito, how is this related to theology? So trying to connect and relate yung 20th century philosophies to the most or the oldest document available, which is the Bible. So let's go straight to the first theology. So first, the relationship between theology and philosophy has taken different forms. The first, we will notice, in effect, no relation at all. That is theology disjoined from philosophy. So that's the first thing that we need to understand. Sinasabi niya, wala talaga connection. But of course, it will not stop there. What is there in common between Athens and Jerusalem? What between the academy and the church? What between heretics and Christians? So parang wala. Pwedeng they can live independently. Is what it says. So that is one approach na pwede mo sila talagang ihiwalay. Meron kang filosofiya sa buhay, pero it is not connected with your knowledge about the Bible. Because there are some people, mayroong mga philosophy sa Bible, philosophy sa buhay, pero it is not based on their belief about God. So your philosophies and theology could be separated. Pero maganda kung ang iyong philosophy is based on the right theology. Okay, so number two, the second position to arise historically was that of Augustine, who felt that theology can be elucidated by philosophy. He stressed the priority of faith and acceptance of biblical revelation, but also insisted that philosophy may help us to understand better our Christian theology. So later, makikita natin yan. So, ang sinasabi niya dito, kung mayroon kang tamang filosofiya, ay nakakatulong siya sa iyong tamang theology, paniniwala tungkol sa Diyos. Because dapat mayroon tayong understanding that philosophy is more of the practical way of living. Ang iyong pamumuhay, ito ang aking filosofiya, kaya ito ang aking klaseng buhay meron. So, ang basihan ng aking buhay ay sa tamang pagkaunawa o understanding about God. I mean, your philosophy is based on your theology. So, unang kanina sabi niya, your philosophy, ang iba mga tao, they don't consider God na bahagi ng kanilang buhay. So, ang kanilang philosophy sa buhay is not based on their theology. So, this could be separated. Number two, theology is sometimes established by philosophy. Okay? So as Christian, theology began to encounter both paganism and non-Christian religion. So it became necessary to find some neutral basis on which to establish the truth of the authoritative message. Thomas found such a basis in Aristotle's argument for the existence of God. So in this case, philosophy was able to apply theology with credibility to In addition, Aristotle's substance, accident, metaphysics became the basis for formulating certain key doctrines such as the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist sa tradition ng Catholic. Pantoy, Thomas. So, nasabi niya, theology is sometimes established by philosophy. And that is true. And number 4, theology may also be judged by philosophy. Okay? So, kung lang ito? Approach, not necessarily it's absolute. This could be one approach. That theology may be judged by philosophy. Hindi ibig sabihin, ito ang tama. Pero ito ay ginagawa ng iba. Kaya this is part, kaya number 4 siya. So, different approaches when it comes to understanding the relation of theology and philosophy. So dito, of course, Christians don't always agree on this premise. As sabi, theology is judged by philosophy. Because we always believe that theology is above philosophy. Your philosophy should be based on your theology. So, pag sinabi mo na philosophy will judge theology, ibig sabihin, your philosophy is supreme and more authoritative than what you believe about God. So, ito yung pamumuhay ko, ito tama. So, ang aking paniniwala sa Diyos, depende sa aking paniniwala sa buhay. Yan ang ibig niya sabihin. So, in some cases, philosophy even supplies content to theology. Okay lang yan. Acceptable to Christians. That you have some practical way of living. Sometimes it will contribute to your knowledge about God. Okay? Kumbaga, it will only strengthen. So, some 20th century philosophies, siguro talagang dito lang talaga tayo hanggang ngayong araw na ito. Pragmatism. So actually, to understand this is based on more of intellect. So pragmatism in philosophy was an intellectual movement. Actually, as the author had mentioned, it started in 19th and 20th century. So tayo ngayon, 21st century na, no? So, kuwan lang ito, last century ng mga philosophies na pinanghahawakan ng maraming mga tao noon na sa ngayon, mayroon pa rin. So, ang pinaka-pamuno nito si John Dewey. This is an action in education. So, he said, children learn by doing rather than. For instance, merely listening to lecture. So, pragmatism is learning out of having intellectual knowledge out of experience. Natuto ka, may natutunan ka sa magitan ng iyong karanasan sa buhay. So, ginagawa mo yan. So, that is intellect, gaining intellect out of practicality or out of your action. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng pragmatic philosophy. So, ang mga natutunan ko sa buhay, nagkaroon ako ng intellect, nagkaroon ako ng kaalaman, brother, sa magitan ng aking mga karanasan. which is, you cannot deny that. That is pragmatic philosophy. So ang filosofiya ko sa buhay, kung naranasan ko na, meron akong natutunan. Kung hindi ko naranasan, wala akong natutunan. So I've learned, I have experienced a lot, which is also true sa ating buhay. So we are trying to relate this into our theology, paniniwala sa Diyos. Na meron akong natutunan dahil din sa aking karanasan sa Diyos. Sa aking paglilingkod ng matagal na panahon, ito ang aking filosofiya sa buhay. Dahil ito ang aking naranasan sa Diyos. So that is how pragmatic philosophy be related to our theology. Yan. So ang question kasi ko nito, secular. Pragmatic philosophy is secular. Pero sinama ito ng author, paano natin ito ngayon may relate ang ating secular na buhay sa ating journey, pagkakilala sa ating Panginoon. So that is one thing. So we cannot deny this. This could be also true and acceptable among Christians. So this is a pragmatism philosophy. Okay. So yan lang ang ibig niya sabihin. But you can go ahead and read the details. And number two, the next one is existentialism. Existential philosophy. Okay? So, according to history, this is the most influential philosophy in Europe from about 1930 to the mid-20th century that have in common an interpretation of human existence in the world that stresses its concreteness and its problematic character. The nature of existentialist thought and manner. According to existentialism, according to this philosophy, existence is always particular and individual. Always my existence, your existence, his existence, her existence. So existence is primarily the problem of existence, that is, of the mode of being. That is, therefore, also the investigation of the meaning of being. So the investigation is continually faced with diverse possibilities from among which existence. So wala dyan sa inyong binabasa. There is human individual. So when we say existentialism, this is more of the individual experience of every person. That my personal experience is, for me, the most important thing. My personal experience is absolute for me. And you have your own personal experience, and you are entitled to that. And for you, that is authority. For you, that is absolute. So you cannot impose your own, I cannot impose my own to anybody. Ang ating individual na karanasan sa buhay, yun ang pinakamahalaga. So that is existentialism philosophy. Okay. So I don't care what is your experience, and you don't care about my experience. What my experience is the most important. So ang individual experience ang pinaka-importante. Yon ang philosophy ng existentialism. Okay? So understand? Summarize lang yan. Kaysa basahin pa natin yan. Isa-isa. And you can go there Totally. The next one is analytical. Diyan nagsimula ang pangalan ni Annalyn. Analytical. Analytical philosophy is a branch and tradition of philosophy using analysis. Obvious ba? Sa term pa lang, analytical. Popular in the Western world and particularly the Anglosphere in England, which began around the turn of the 20th century, the contemporary era in the United Kingdom. United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Scandinavia continues today. Analytic philosophy is often contrasted with continental philosophy, coined as a catch-all term for other methods. Right. Analytical philosophy is characterized by an emphasis on language, known as the linguistic turn, and for its clarity and rigor in argument, making use of formal logic and mathematics, and to a lesser degree, natural science. It also takes things, an attempt to focus philosophical reflection on the smaller problem that lead to answer to bigger question. So it is more of analysis. If you have to, pag sinabi natin analysis, you have to analyze. Bakit nag-come up ng ganito? Kaya pupunta ka doon sa detalye, particular, so that you can go to general. So yun palagi ang approach, from particular, from small to bigger, from detail to general. So yan palagi ang analytical. So kung hindi ka analytical, hindi ka mabusisi, ang ibig sabihin. So ito ang philosophy. Sabi niya, one of the philosophies is analytical. Na ang mga pangyayari sa buhay ay palagi mong isipin bakit nangyari. Anong dahilan? Saan nagsimula? Bakit ganyan? So from detail to general. So that could be applied in your life as your philosophy. So other person are analytical. And you know, if you have that, if you possess, we could say that sometimes it's the personality. Yung mga tao, pag mayroon sila nakikita, nagtatanong sila bakit kaya nangyari yung ganito. Ang iba, hindi na nag-isip eh. Basta tinanggap na lang. Okay. That's it. But there are some people who are analytical. Nung nakita nila ng ganyan, they always ask themselves, why is this so? How it started? So, sila yung mga scientists. Paano nag-come up ng ganito? So, mayroong mga tao na ganyan, but that could also be part of a philosophy in life. Na lahat ng pangyayari sa mundo, palagi ka nagtatanong, bakit ganito ang nangyari? Pag nagbagyo, bakit nagbagyo? Pag mayroong lindol, bakit may lindol? So palagi siya nagtatanong, anong dahilan, bakit na ganyan? So that could also be a philosophy in life. This is also good philosophy sa buhay, na palagi ka nagtatanong ng detalye, bakit nag-come up ng ganyan. So lahat ng pangyayari sa buhay ay pwede ka magtanong. Kaya lang, hindi lahat ng tanong mo ay masasagot. There are a lot of questions in life that you cannot simply answer. What you need to do is accept. So anyway, that is just part of one of philosophies ng buhay ng tao. And the other one is process. Process philosophy, also ontology of becoming or processing It's an approach in philosophy that identifies process changes or shifting relationship as the only real experience of everyday living. In opposition to the classical view of challenge or change, rather, as or accidental. Process philosophy, and becoming as the only fundamental things of the ordinary, everyday, the real world. I'm trying to read this example. So, yeah. So when we say process, every time there is a process, changes takes place. Proseso, ito una, sunod, susunod, susunod, susunod. So, pag mayroong proseso, mayroong pagbabagong nangyayari. So, tingnan natin ito. So, unlike, sabi niya, the other philosophies which I've sketched here, process philosophy is avoidedly metaphysics. While aware of the impatience of many modern philosophers with metaphysics, the process thinkers feel that their types of metaphysics is not as vulnerable to attack as essentialist, substantialist, or idealistic views. The central conviction here is that change is the key to the understanding of reality. In fact, the change is reality. So the world is not basically made up of substances which change from one another, from one to another. Rather, it is made up of dynamic process. So we are to be concerned not so much with things as with events. Okay, so what he's saying is that we need to understand the process of change because we are in the world of change. We must believe on the process. So, I think kung ating titingnan, if you have these philosophies in life, the process philosophy, that nothing is permanent in this world, and we need to accept that. So, the nature of the world is keep on changing and processing. So, ang ikot, ang takbo ng mundo, palaging proseso at palaging nagbabago. Pag mayroong proseso, mayroong pagbabago. So, sabi nga, nothing is permanent and everything is changing. So if everything is changing, then it needs process. So that is one of philosophies ng buhay ng tao. Na ang buhay sa mundo ay palaging proseso dahil ito ay palaging nagbabago. Walang permanente. So, tingnan mo. The changes in 20th century is quiet, slow than changes nowadays. Ang changes ngayon ay mas matindi because of the technology, what's taking place now in the world. So ang word na process, philosophy, is more applicable today than before. Noon, nagbabago na yan. Pero ngayon, mas matindi ang pagbabago ng takbo ng mundo. So, grabe ang proseso. So, your age somewhat could cope with the changes. My generation could hardly cope with the changes nowadays. Yung mga terminologies ngayon sa mga technology ngayon, hindi ko na maintindihan yung mga terminologies na ginagamit ngayon ng mga kabataan using the technology. The language today ay ang daming bagong nag-evolve na language na hindi ginagamit noon. Na kung hindi ka ma-update, you don't really know exactly what the meaning of it. Yeah. So may mga terminology sila na ginagamit na we don't know. Luma na yung tinatawag na soft copy, hard copy. Bakit may hard copy ang soft copy ba mga 40 years ago? Wala namang ganong terminology. Di ba? Nag-evolve na lang. Anong soft copy? Anong hard copy? Wala namang ganong copy, no? Basta isa lang yung copy, no? So, kung hindi mo naintindihan, anong copy? Malambot? Hard copy, anong hard copy? Matigas na. So, if you don't know that, pag hindi mo pag-aralan, talagang mahuhuli ka. So, that's the process philosophy. So, this time, the process is very, very rapid. The changes is very rapid. So, lately, ano na naman yung mga terminologies ngayon ng mga ginagamit? Meron mga terms, ano daw? Pero sa kanila, parang common na lang mga kabataan. Sa inyo, your age, common na lang. Pero for us, we need to cope up with the terminology. So yung aking mga terminologies, ito yung mga terminologies dito. Ito yung aking napag-aralan. So yung mga terms ngayon, ang hirap. Pero believe ako minsan sa mga matatanda, they still update themselves. Pero parang napapagod na ako para lang mag-cope sa inyo na yan. So, halimbawa, sa mga what's going on sa church, for example. Yung using the technology. O malay mo na yung mga bagong ngayon sa mga sound system ngayon ng mga ginagamit ng mga kabataan para magkaroon ng live na sa inyo na yan, bahala na kayo dyan. Basta ako, ayusin ko yung aking pag-preach. Hindi ko na alam kung paano niya paayusin niya, palabas sa online. So I don't know about it. So I don't know what's going on now sa mundo. Sabi ko, I'm still in the world. So the good thing is that kung meron ka, of course, mga kabataan, at least yung dalawa kong anak, they are updated. So, dami nilang mga terms na sinasabi. Yan, ano ba yan? So parang, for me to be able to cope up, so parang nakakapagod na. So to keep what I have learned and then to learn more and more and more. But, you have to accept that if you want really to be updated. So ito sinasabi niya na process. But this process philosophy is more rapid this time at very fast ang process of change na nangyayari. So, but that's part of our philosophy because the world is keep on changing and changing. So, nangyayari lang ngayon, sobrang bilis ang pagbabago. At ang proseso ay mabilis. So, kaso wala kang magagawa minsan, kailangan mo, para makagalaw ka rin, kailangan mo magsikap. Si Mark, talagang hanga ako dyan sa kanyang, 30 plus na rin siya, pero he kept on updating sa technology. So, ito sila, Joe, mga bata-bata pa to, talagang naka-in yan pa, naka-in pa yan. So, what's going on? Ako, ma-on ko lang yung iPad ko at saka makapunta lang sa internet, okay na ako. Again? So, theology's use of philosophy. Sabi niya, at the beginning of this chapter, sabi niya, we noted the variety of relationship which can exist between theology and philosophy. So what should be the role of and place of philosophy in our theology? I propose two basic guidelines. First, in keeping with our fundamental prepositions, revelations, rather than philosophy will supply the content of our theology. So that is one of the propositions, that our philosophy is a supplier of our theology. Right? And while philosophy will be employed, there will be no commitment to one system of philosophy as such. So there are a lot of number of philosophies we have discussed kanina. So sinasabi niya, there is no commitment to just one. Ibig sabihin, those philosophies could be applied. Sabi niya, kung ilan man yan, kung apat man yan, they can contribute. Sabi niya, wala tayong natangi na isa lang ang gagamitin na makapag-contribute. So, all of them can be used. So, yet, Christian theology has a definite worldview. That's something that we need to understand. Christians, we have our own worldview. Simple na naman sa Tagalog, pananaw. Na ang ating pagiging Kristiyano, mayroon tayong definite worldview. We will be exposed to different worldviews as we go along with our studies. But the purpose is just for us to expose ourselves to different worldviews without necessarily embracing all the worldviews. But as learners, it's good for us to be exposed to different worldviews in the world. Kasi doon na bo-broader ang iyong kaisipan. Ano pa ang advantage that you are exposed to different worldviews? Your being judgmental will be lessened. And your being prejudiced either lesson. Though you have already formulated your own worldview according to the Bible as Christians, mayroon na tayong pananaw according to what the Word of God is saying. But as we go along, as we minister to the people, it is necessary for us to be exposed to different worldviews. Para nagsalita ang tao na yan na hindi Kristiyano, na naiintindihan mo siya. Kasi meron kang background na sila ganyan. Pero pag hindi ka open at hindi mo sila naunawaan, then you will judge right away the person. At hindi mo siya matanggap. Hindi mo rin tanggapin ang kanyang sinasabi. Kaagad babaliin mo, kaagad i-refute mo, kaagad sasabihin mo, that's not true. Why? Because you are not exposed to their worldview. Hindi mo siya naunawaan kasi hindi mo nabasa at hindi ka na-expose sa kanilang worldview. So, dahil hindi yan ang worldview ko, pero naintindihan ko yan ang worldview niya kasi na-expose ako dyan. Pero hindi yan ang paniniwala ko. Hindi yan ang pananaw ko. Ang pananaw ko, what the Bible is saying. Because that's what I embrace. Because I'm a Christian. I'm a believer of the Bible. So, ang pananaw ng Biblia, iyan ang ine-embrace ko. But if you will expose yourself outside the Philippines, punta ka sa ibang lugar at makikita mo ang kanilang pananaw sa buhay is totally different from yours. And you will be shocked, and you will judge them, and you will have prejudice, and you will, kuminsan discriminate them because of their different worldviews. So dahil na-expose ka, you will learn how to listen to them and accept them without necessarily accepting their worldview. Tanggapin mo lang, pakinggan lang sila, at unawain without any judgment. Kung bakit siya nagsasalita na ganyan. Kasi diyan siya galing, yan ang pananaw nila sa buhay, yan ang kultura nila. Okay? So, that's the time that we remove our colored glasses. Because if you don't remove your colored glasses, you will look at everything according to the color of your glasses. So with that, you're not open for learning. You're not open. Pagdating sa ministry, masyadong makitid ang iyong scope of ministry. So agad mag-judge ka. O mali yan, mali yan. No. You need to understand them first. Pero ang target mo, of course, for them to have also a biblical view. Kung mayroon kang biblical view, gusto mo rin magkaroon sila. Pero hindi mo pwedeng i-impose yan kaagad. Kailangan mo silang unawain kung bakit sila ganyan at saan sila nanggaling. Yeah. So, we should have that kind of philosophy in life. Yeah. So, yan ang natutulong ng pag-aaral nang hindi tumigil sa pag-aaral. So, I came from a seminary that you could hardly detect their own personal view. We are 6 minutes left behind. I mean, more. Nagkuhan lang ito yung aking alarm clock ng 11:24. Nakaset kasi kami sa church. 11:24. Pag 11:24, short prayer. Parang ganun lang. Pag nagtunog yung cellphone mo, just say a short prayer for soul. Saan galing 11:24? From Mark 11:24. When you pray, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Kaya 11:24. Nag-alarm. But anyway, so 6 minutes na lang. So, any reflection sa ating natutunan? May natutunan na kayo? Is there anything that struck you? Learn something today? Hanggang tulang tayo, wala na talagang tayo magawa. To believe. It affects, of course. Yeah, you can create your own philosophy culturally, out of your culture and from your family, how your parents have brought you up. Let us face, particularly here in the Philippines, Christianity has two faces. The traditional, because you have mentioned about the absoluteness of the authority of the Bible, sola scriptura. Uh, there are two faces of Christianity in the Philippines, particularly. The Catholics based on their tradition, and of course the born again based on the Bible. So two faces, one is biblical, another one is traditional. For example, they have a lot of traditions that are not biblical. Where can you find the Bible? Where can you find in the Bible that they baptize babies? But that is just been tradition of the Philippines. That you cannot find from the Old to New Testament that they baptize babies. That is traditional Christianity. But biblical Christianity is different. Yeah. So in the Philippines, we have to understand the two faces of Christianity. So I'm born again. Bible is the authority. No other authority. Kahit kahit gobyerno pa, pag lumabag sa salita ng Panginoon, ay lalabanan natin ang gobyerno. Sabi ng gobyerno, okay na ang abortion, ay lalabanan na talaga natin. We go against abortion, what the Bible says. So, diyan tayo maging rebelde according to the standard of God's word. Okay? So, any more reflection? I've learned something. So, hanggang tulang tayo. Pero ang inyong next month, grabe next month, no? Tagal, no? Next week. So, knowing God. From lesson 7, ang inyong reaction paper. So, at least one page per lesson. You can go beyond one page. Yeah. So, November pa tayo, pagkatapos pa ng, ano yan? All Saints Day. First, ano ba, kailan tayo papasok? First Monday? When? Or second Monday? So, medyo malapit-lapit na ito ngayon. Kasi second Monday na tayo ngayon. Second Tuesday. Ano ba tayo, Monday? Hindi, ibig sabihin yung pasok natin. Hello. O dapat ma-announce kagad yon. So okay lang kung Tuesday tayo.